Hello, my friends. I am here today because I want to talk to you about speaking from your heart instead of from your ego. Now, this topic came up for me with synchronicity after synchronicity after synchronicity over and over and over and over again over the last few days. And so I felt called to share it because I'm in a moment in my life and in my business where I am going deep within myself to find more of me, to find more of my truth, and to really uncover all of that so that I can live more as me and so that I can share the wisdom that I have within myself and make a difference in the world. And through so much of this introspection and so much of this becoming and unbecoming, it has been very clear that I have spent a lot of my life in totality, especially in my business where I am online on Instagram and Facebook and my podcast and all the places that I show up online, that I have been coming from a place of ego. And now I want to define what that means for me, because I know that that is a buzzword and ego could mean all kinds of things for all kinds of people. For me, it's the part of us who is conditioned into believing that we are not love. See how I didn't say worthy of love? Because I believe that we are just beings of love. And if we have it, if we are it, then we cannot be worthy of it. We are inherently worthy if you even want to use those terms. But we are just beings of love. And the ego, as I explain it in this context, is the part of us that doesn't feel that, doesn't know that, has been conditioned out of that. And how this shows up is people pleasing, speaking to make people like me, showing up to make people think I'm cool. And like one of the cool kids, that's come up in my life a lot because when I grew up, I felt really, really left out. Ego can show up like I need validation for my brilliance. I need validation for the work I'm doing externally. I need people around me to tell me you're doing a good job. And that leads to the good girl. Oof. I need to be the good girl in order to stay safe, right? So there's a little bit of that comes in. The part of us that doesn't feel that we are love, and also the part of us that needs our needs met. So the behaviors that we do, the way in which we show up in the world, from I need to get my needs met, I need to feel worthy of love. Maybe that's I need to make a lot of money. That one's come up for me a lot when it comes to if I make a lot of money in my business, that means I serve a lot of people, and that's why I'm here. And and that also means that I'm worthy. It means that I'm good enough. It means that I am successful. Therefore, I am powerful. It's the ego is looking for the external validation to prove to ourselves that we are enough. And of course, there's a long list. How many likes do we get on Instagram? How many views, how many inquiries? Even in dating life, does he like me? Does she like me? Will they call me back? Am I worthy of another date? Are they going to abandon me? That's been a big one in my life. If I'm truly me, will I become abandoned by my partner, by my clients? Do my clients like me? Oh my God, that one actually comes up still. Am I doing a good job? Am I serving them powerfully enough? Now, my soul knows, because this is just literally what I'm here to do. Like, this is why I'm here on this earth. I've gone through so much emotional turmoil, from abandonment to loss to believing that I was not worthy of a life because I had nothing to add to it, right? I forgot about the love that I am. And so that shows up, and it's showed up in my business so much. Putting content out and being like, okay, did anybody see it? I thought that was really good. That message was awesome. Did anyone see it? Oh, 100 views. That's not that many. I see other people who have tens of thousands of views. They must be better than me, right? That is the ego creeping up. Those are the beliefs from deep within myself that are saying, let's look for the external just to make sure. Let me just check. Because then if it goes really far, if my post or my video or my whatever content reaches a lot of people, then that means my message was fucking fire. My message was on point. But here's the thing. How many times have I had content that goes to the 4 figures of views, 5 figures of views, and yet I still feel the same? I could have $10,000 come in, and yet I still feel the same. I recently deposited $7,000 into my account from clients coming in, or from client payments. And yes, I celebrated it because I get to serve these clients and I'm so grateful. And yet the dollar amount coming in doesn't actually change the underlying belief for my ego that I need that external validation. I need to be seen to prove that I am worthy of love, right? So this is how this shows up. And I could probably go on and on and on from my own experience and that of my clients' experiences of not feeling worthy to show up, not feeling worthy to be seen, and constantly seeking that external validation, constantly seeking, constantly seeking, constantly seeking, forgetting that actually everything we need is right in here. And this is why I titled this live, this conversation, Speaking from Your Heart. Because your heart actually holds the wisdom. Your heart holds all the codes. And now this is coming from someone, me, who has been up in my head my whole life. I'm very cerebral. My dad told me when I was a little girl that he was convinced I was going to grow up and become a lawyer because I can argue anything. I am whip smart in that way. I have an argument for anything. Come at me with one and I got it. I can convince anyone that I am correct, that I am right, right? Yeah. That is of the mind. And we're not going to talk about how that's part of our ego, but that is also part of our ego. What I want to share here is that so many of us, myself so deeply included, we are of the mind. Let's just figure it out because our minds are so powerful. They're so powerful that we can figure it out. We can think our way through anything. We can figure our way out of anything and into anything. And yet we do not feel fulfilled because we are stuck in our mind. And what does that do? It takes us out of our heart. But as I shared, our heart actually holds the codes. The heart holds our truth of who we actually are. And so why are we so fucking afraid to speak from our truth? And that is because we are in our heads and we are operating from speaking from the ego. And so untying that, unhooking that is a challenge for some of us. So then I asked myself, because I'm going through all this deeper inner work, this excavation, this who am I? Who am I really? And how can I show up powerfully in the world to serve? Because one thing I've always known to be true, and I know this more deeply than ever, that who I am is service. I remember asking a friend years ago, what do you think the purpose of life is for you specifically, I guess? And he said, to have fun. And I was so taken aback. I was like, what? I had to process what that meant. Like, why would your purpose just to have fun? And I realized looking back on that and sharing that now, that that's because I've had some blocks to fun, and I'm working on that now. I'm working on allowing myself to have more fun, because in this process of digging deep into our hearts and digging deep into who we are, we get to see the parts of us that we've left behind. And fun is one of them. But when I answered that question that I had asked years ago, what is my purpose here? At the time, it was to heal. I said, I'm here to heal. And what I didn't realize at the time is that, yes, I'm here to heal, but not just myself, but of others. That I am deeply called from who I am to be of service. And now, knowing this truth then a little bit and knowing it solidly now, and part of that is knowing that it's from using my voice, because my voice has been blocked for most of this lifetime. When I look back at old videos I shared, my voice was quieter. It was weaker. And so I know that for sure. I know that for absolute certainty that my voice holds power, because it's a journey that I have gone on. So I know that I am service. And I know that I have been operating from ego. I have been operating from that, one might say, wounded place of people pleasing, comparing, the comparing. And a really big one for me is entitlement. Because success has always been around in my upbringing. I have 2 entrepreneur parents, my siblings, we're all entrepreneurs. We're all here doing big work in the world. And so on some level in my business, I felt entitled. I also saw a lot of success early on in my business. As soon as I started, within 1 month, I had signed clients, and they continued and continued. I think it was within, thinking back, it was like 3 months in, I had my first 4 clients. And then for a year and a half from there, it was consistent revenue that actually matched my old job. So I had success built into me. It was just like who I am. Success, achievement, that's just Eleena. That's what we do in my family. That's just what I am. That's who I am. But that entitlement is ego. Because what happens when the success stops? Am I still worthy? Am I still me? So what I was doing there was actually taking my power from outside of me. Success equals safety, security, power, more me-ness, right? And do you know what happened? My success did stop. My money stopped flowing in for like almost a year, like a little bit, little tiny trickles, but not enough to live off of, and certainly not enough to validate that part of me that was desperate for success, to have any semblance of worthiness. And so that experience, I had to untangle unhook, release that part of me that success equals worth, and come back to, oh, wait, I am worth. I am love. I am service. And success is a byproduct of who I already am. And money is a byproduct of who I already am. And all of the things that I would want, the nice car that I bought, that I did buy, the money that comes in, that's come in and not come in, all of that it's a belief that I had that I needed that to validate me. But again, that's ego. The truth is, what's in your heart is you, is your truth. And all those things that you think make you more of you, they get to come as a product, as a byproduct of you being more of you. So speaking from your heart means allowing yourself to go to your truth. Now, how do you do that? When you're conditioned into seeking the external validation. Well, you have to dig in. You have to allow those parts of you that really want to compare yourself to someone who's so much more successful than you and be like, oh, I fucking hate them. Like, you have to allow yourself to be honest with your absolute truth. And when I say truth, I don't mean fully the truth of who you are. I mean all of it. The truth of who you are and the truth of how you've been conditioned. Are you choosing to operate from people pleasing? Are you choosing to do what you think will make others happy? Are you choosing to compare yourself? And now there's zero judgment here. I was actually in a client call yesterday, and she said, man, I showed up as a hot mess and you didn't judge me. And I leaned in close and I looked at her in the eye and I said, I will never judge you. I don't care what you ever say or do. There will never be judgment from me. Because when we judge ourselves, we abandon ourselves. And I have judged myself and others way too long in my life, and I will never do it again. And I invite you to not judge yourself either. I invite you to not shame yourself. I invite you to look at all the ways that you have been operating from your ego with love, to shine a light on the truth of your conditioning, the truth of what you were taught, the truth of why and how you seek love and validation and affirmation and safety and security. And I bet you I've done them all. And I've shamed myself and I've judged myself, and I forgive myself. I forgive myself for all of the moments that I was hard on myself. I forgive myself for all the moments that I thought others were more important than I am because they had created more success, something tangible or intangible, or who cares. I forgive myself for how I've mistreated myself, and I forgive myself for how I have mistreated others. And I invite you to do the same. And once you can love on all those parts of you that you want to judge, that you want to shame, what happens is you actually create some space within your being to be able to listen to what's in here. Because if you're stuck in your head with the comparison and the people pleasing and the seeking, what's going to happen is your heart will be fully blocked. My heart was blocked for decades. And it wasn't until I had the courage to really look at all the parts of me that I was ashamed of, that I allowed space for my heart to open. I allowed space for my heart to be felt and seen and heard. And now I know. And of course, this is a journey, right? Don't be fooled when people tell you that you can just heal something and then you never feel it again. We are humans. We will always be humans. Having an experience here on earth with ups and downs and hardships and challenges. And the gift that you get to receive is the wisdom to navigate through all of it with more love for yourself and others, with more grace, with more ease, with forgiveness, with all of that. So know that there's no perfect, which is another form of conditioning that I have certainly been subjected to in my life, the perfectionism. That one loves to show up for me, and it loves to show up for my clients. The note I want to share with you about perfectionism is when you expend energy trying to make something perfect. When we know that perfection is an illusion, it doesn't exist beyond our soul, which is perfect. Who we are inherently as a soul is perfection, but nothing else in the world is perfect, nor can it ever become perfect. So when you expend your energy trying to make something perfect, like a live, a post, a book you're writing, a conversation, a coaching session, or your relationship, you are actually keeping energy focused on something away from being more you. So if you are spending hours and hours trying to get your message right, trying to figure out the exact words, because trust me, I've wasted months, years of my life spending energy focused on trying to get it right so that I could feel powerful, so that I could feel validated. What was I missing out on? All of the energy that I focused on trying to get it perfect actually took away from all of the energy that I could have spent on being more me, which is of service. Now, I do not judge or shame myself. I forgive myself for that. And I'm grateful for all of that because I now get to teach this. I now get to help save you from having hours, weeks, months, years of your life wasted seeking external validation, seeking perfectionism that does not exist, when you could be loving on those parts of you who feel that way and focusing the rest of your attention and your energy on being who you are. And if you're watching this, you are like me. You are here to serve. You are here to share your message with the world. You are here with wisdom in your heart, light in your body that is desperate to be unleashed into the world. You've always known that you are meant for more. You've always known that you have a mission, a purpose, a reason for being here on this planet at this time to do something specific to uplift the consciousness of the collective, of humanity. And yet the ego, the perfectionism, the seeking, the I'm not good enough is a distraction to keep you from your power, to keep you from your wisdom, to keep you from sharing what's within your heart. And it's so important that you do not dismiss that. You do not dismiss those parts of you. It's important to love them. But to zoom out into a higher perspective and look down at your life and realize the amount of time that you now get to spend on what is truly important to you. The amount of energy that you already have within you that you get to redirect to being you, to serving, to shining your light. So if you find yourself in this moment of stuckness, of overwhelm, of not enoughness, how can I, the seeking, the trying, I invite you to take some moments to feel into the messages that those are trying to give you. Because yes, they were conditioned into you. They were taught to you from somewhere, your parents, society, teachers when you were a kid, whoever. And yet you get to take your power back from all of that and say, oh, I'm so fucking overwhelmed. How is that for me? How is that serving me? Receive the message, love on that part of you like you've never loved on anyone before ever, and then get to work sharing who you actually are. Get to work tapping into your heart. And deeply asking it, what does it want to share? What does it have to give to the world? And then go do that. Because without doing that, by focusing all of your energy on judging and feeling bad and not enough and perfectionism and people pleasing, the truth is, the hard truth, the real truth, is you are doing all those people in humanity who need you a huge disservice. You are gatekeeping. You are hiding. You are holding on to something that could save someone's life. You are keeping something inside that can save someone's life. Like, really. You are called to serve. You are called to help. It is your duty to go do that. And the way to do that is from your heart. So go do it. And if you need support, I am the one here for you. Because the truth is, I am service. It's who I am. And I get to bring all of my conditioning with me. I get to bring all of my fear with me. And also know that I'm here to serve you and to help awaken within you who you truly are. To let go of the conditioning, having the driver's seat of the car of your life. And instead, you take the driver's seat, the wheel. So that you get to be in charge and you get to be the leader of your life. So if you need support with that, I'm your girl and I'm here for you. Until next time, I love you and I am here for you. Have the most beautiful day.